Have you ever seen the look in her eyes change the moment your voice trembled, your shoulders dropped, or your eyes revealed need, and felt her respect vanish instantly? Men spend their entire lives believing they must be more agreeable to win connection. But agreeableness was never the problem. The real damage happens inside you the moment you need something. Your body tightens, your voice softens, your eyes reveal uncertainty. You surrender power without realizing it. The goal is not to manipulate women. The goal is to master the internal trigger that shapes how they respond to you. Respect, attention, cooperation. The man who understands this stops pleading and starts leading. There is a pattern in modern men. They behave well, speak well, act well, but when it's time to ask, they beg. A small shift, a breath too fast, a face too tense, a sentence wrapped in invisible excuses, and everything collapses. She sees the hesitation before you even finish the request. For you, it's nothing. For her, it signals insecurity, neediness, a drop in your internal value. Communication fractures, interest fades, respect dissolves. You didn't fail because you asked wrong. You failed because you asked without grounding. The hidden error is always the same. You ask to please. You ask to be liked. You ask hoping to prove you're worthy. But the moment your intention comes from lack, the request loses all integrity. A woman doesn't respond to the words. She responds to the emotional position behind them. And when that position is neediness, the outcome is predictable every time: loss of power. The promise of this video is simple. I'm going to expose the invisible mechanism that makes a woman trust you, follow your direction, and adjust her emotional rhythm to yours. Not because of tricks, not because of lines, but because of the state you carry the moment you walk into the interaction. You spent years trying to be nicer. What you actually needed was to become inevitable. Picture two men. One asks as if he's hoping not to be rejected. The other asks as someone who already knows his path. The first shrinks his presence. The second expands the room. A woman feels this contrast instantly. This chapter will show you how to pull weight out of your words and put it into your presence, how to replace anxiety with grounding, how to turn communication from something that begs into something that leads. Because here's what no one ever told you. It's not she who decides whether she cooperates. It's your emotional center that activates her response. Control that, and you step out of the category of ordinary men forever. Now we get to the silent mistake. There's one behavior that erodes your presence before you even speak. Most men live inside it without realizing it. It's the unconscious urge to validate before you ask. The mind starts whispering, will she like it? Am I bothering her? Am I enough? And the body answers before your words do. Your eyes hesitate. Your breathing shortens. Your voice adds explanations she never asked for. And her unconscious picks up the message immediately. Insecurity. Attraction doesn't fade because of what you said. It fades because your body announced that you placed yourself beneath her. Hold on for a second. If you've ever felt your voice shake, your eyes drop, or your body tense when asking for something, write "I've been there" in the comments. The practice is simple. Watch your body before you speak. If your chest tightens, if your voice rises half a tone, if your rhythm speeds up, the interaction is already lost. Regaining presence starts with mastering that first physical impulse. There's also a biological layer men often overlook. The female brain reads social signals with far more precision, especially when the emotional balance between two people feels uneven. She's not searching for perfection, she's scanning for stability. Within seconds, she detects whether a man governs his internal state or is governed by it. Even a smart, well-intentioned man triggers alarms if his emotions run ahead of him. This is why modulation matters. Your voice, your tempo, your micro-expressions. When your rhythm is steady, your face relaxed, your pauses natural, her nervous system interprets it as safety, and safety always comes before interest. Watch what happens to men who rush intimacy. They think the faster they open up, the faster they'll be accepted. But instant accessibility kills tension, and without tension, attraction cannot exist. Connection doesn't come from urgency, it comes from rhythm, from the interplay of approach and pause, from space that allows her to step forward while you remain grounded. This is the one-step, pause, one-step method. Move with intention. Pause long enough for her to absorb it, then move again. It creates a dynamic where she feels led by your presence, not pulled by your need. Science backs this. A 2019 Columbia University study found that men with lower emotional reactivity were consistently rated as more attractive and trustworthy, even in brief interactions. What destroys interest isn't lack of conversation or charm. It's emotional volatility. It's rushing to respond. It's intensity with no calibration. It's showing that the environment controls you, instead of you controlling the environment. To train this, start with the first minutes of conversation, lower your initial energy, speak slightly less than you want to, and avoid responding instantly to either provocation or praise. Everything in this process leads to one core method, the first layer protocol. It filters value before you say anything. First, speak less than you feel like. Silence adds weight. Second, remove justifications. Justifying signals insecurity. Third, stay neutral before reacting. Don't offer emotion before reading the room. Fourth, use pauses as authority, not hesitation. When these four elements merge, presence turns into silent power. And silent power is what makes a woman naturally aligned to your rhythm. Your energy begins to lead the interaction. That's where the dynamic shifts in your favor. Now the invisible law behind female cooperation. When a man asks for something while believing he's already at a disadvantage, he loses before speaking. That internal drop, the feeling of being below, creates a climate of emotional negotiation her body detects instantly. She senses that you want more than you offer, that your intention comes from need, not direction. And once she reads that, disinterest is automatic. But reversing this doesn't require force or speeches. It only requires assertive communication that repositions the dynamic in seconds. If you ask with natural pacing, grounded presence, and clarity, she sees a man who knows what he wants, not someone trying to pull something out of her. Women don't follow men who ask for permission to exist. They follow men who walk with direction, even when they say very little. This isn't romanticism, it's evolutionary psychology, the fundamental blueprint of attraction. If this perspective is helping you shift your presence, take a moment and stay connected. Subscribe and keep the rhythm with us. It lets us continue this work together. The principle of direction shapes a woman's response long before logic ever appears. She's drawn to men whose posture, gaze, and tone communicate a path, not a speech, not a performance, but an internal direction. You don't explain this, you embody it. The application is straightforward. When expressing intention, do it cleanly. No justifying, no over-politeness, no anxiety bleeding into the space. Direction is a silent language, not a motivational monologue. A woman doesn't respond to your words. She responds to your axis, the way you hold emotional space, the way your energy stays aligned even when the tone shifts. A man with axis doesn't raise his voice or over-explain. He doesn't push. He simply exists in a way that the environment naturally adjusts to him. To build this state, use internal axis training. Slow the breath, slow the body, and drop awareness from her face into your center. When your body drops into this mode, your presence changes instantly. Science confirms what female intuition reads in under a second. A 2020 University of Toronto study found women detect male emotional instability in less than 0.7 seconds simply through posture and physical rhythm. Meaning, your argument, your intention, your speech, none of it matters unless your body passes the test first. The practice is simple. Remove all signs of emotional negotiation. No excessive gestures, no rushed speech, no nervous laughter. Your body communicates value long before your words try to. And here's the real secret to making women follow your lead. It's not explicit command, it's implicit direction. The subtle art of moving the interaction forward without asking for permission. 3 steps. A brief statement indicating the movement. A normalization that frames it as natural. A continuation that advances without checking for approval. Say, "Come over here a second," and simply walk. Your energy leads. Say, Sit here while creating space beside you. She feels invited, not pressured, by someone who knows exactly what he's doing. This method works everywhere. Invitations, dates, even brief encounters. The real power is never in the words. It's in tone, rhythm, and the unspoken signals your body sends. Now the final principle. Most men sabotage themselves by revealing their intention before revealing their value. They think early sincerity builds trust. It doesn't. It collapses mystery, reduces impact, and exposes vulnerability that hasn't been earned. Showing intention too soon communicates urgency, and urgency always reads as neediness. She doesn't withdraw because of what you want. She withdraws because of how clearly you showed that you need it. So here's the application. Hide the intention, not the presence. Let atmosphere speak before desire does. Let your value set the stage before your objective appears. Intention should arrive as a consequence of your energy, not as a plea for validation. There's also a biological trigger behind female reciprocity. It isn't random, it's selective. Women respond most intensely to men who combine perceived value with behavioral scarcity, not men who are always available, and not men who disappear. Total availability kills reciprocity. Total unavailability kills connection. The ideal state is strategic availability. You show presence, but not full access. You show interest, but you don't dissolve into it. Here's the practical rule. Offer 30%. Let her advance the remaining 70%. That 30% creates tension, anticipation, and emotional space. And that space is what builds attraction and invites cooperation. The real trick that flips the entire game is understanding this. You don't convince a woman, you make her feel the idea was hers. The female mind responds to emotional coherence, not logical pressure. Argue too hard, and she closes. Create atmosphere, pause, and intention, and she opens. This is where the inverted mirror technique comes in. You present a possibility, step back, and let her fill the emotional space you left. Your intention becomes lighter, her sense of choice becomes stronger, and once she feels she chose, she commits. The application is simple. Suggest lightly, insinuate subtly, let her confirm. You lead, she follows naturally. Science backs this completely. A 2018 Stanford study found that requests delivered with confident posture, controlled pacing, and behavioral scarcity were 42% more likely to be accepted. Not because of manipulation, because of perception engineering. Your body tells her whether you're a man who can be followed or a man who needs support. Your rhythm reveals whether you lead or ask for permission. Your posture decides whether she opens space or raises a barrier. So train these three elements before any important interaction. Align your spine, slow your rhythm, let silence settle. When your nonverbal carries weight, your words don't have to do all the work. Everything leads to one strategy used by elite negotiators, the agar door trick. It works like this. First, plant the seed of intention. No explanation, no persuasion, just a possibility dropped into the air. Then step back. Give her space to elaborate it internally, without pressure. Finally, return with clarity and calm direction. By that moment, she no longer feels she's complying. She feels she's participating in a shared decision. This dissolves resistance, builds desire, and turns cooperation into the natural outcome of the interaction. Now pause for a second. If you want to apply this shift in your life, write "I'm practicing the shift" in the comments. That is the trick. She gives you what you want because she feels the desire came from her, not pressure from you. Once you apply this mechanism, the entire dynamic shifts. The weight leaves your words and enters your presence. A request stops sounding like need and becomes an inevitable invitation. The man who masters this doesn't force, doesn't chase, doesn't negotiate. He builds atmosphere. He controls rhythm. He sets direction. She responds not because she was convinced, but because she was led. That is how you become the man who gets what he wants, not by asking like someone hoping for approval, but by understanding the invisible structure behind every interaction. Every man eventually reaches a point of clarity. This is why the man who controls his value controls the entire dynamic. When you enter centered, when your energy stays stable and your words come from an internal axis, her behavior shifts without you raising your voice or proving anything. You don't request respect, you become someone who cannot be ignored. The transformation you experience throughout this video isn't abstract, it's practical. You left behind the patterns of anxiety, doubt, and constant validation, and stepped into the territory of calculated masculine direction. You learned that women don't search for perfection, they search for emotional stability. They don't follow explanations, they follow presence. They don't follow speeches, they follow rhythm. And when you recalibrate your body, your voice, your posture, and your intention, their response stops being chaotic and becomes predictable. The central truth of everything you've learned is this: getting what you want isn't about pressure, performance, or persuasion. It's about emotional control, strategic communication, rhythm, and a silent authority that enters the room before your words do. You don't influence by speaking more. You influence by embodying consistency. Consistency creates rarity. Rarity creates value, and value creates power. A woman doesn't respond to explanations, she responds to impact. She doesn't judge you by your promises, she judges you by the way your presence shifts the environment. Your body reveals everything long before your voice does. Your posture, your rhythm, your pauses, your gaze. Every gesture broadcasts either stability or neediness, strength or hesitation, direction or doubt. And this is where your transformation begins. When your behavior aligns with your inner value, when your posture steadies, your rhythm slows, your intention sharpens, and you lead through energy instead of effort, you stop reacting to the world and start shaping it. This is the turning point. The moment you graduate from the version of yourself who chased acceptance into the man whose presence cannot be ignored. But before you go, I want to hear from you. What is the one moment in your life when you realized a woman responded more to your presence than to your words? And did it change the way you see attraction? Drop it in the comments. Your experience might explain what another man has never been able to understand. If this video clarified even one part of the invisible dynamic you've been experiencing, support the channel with a like and share. It helps the content reach the men who need it most. And if you're ready for the next stage, the one fear women carry that almost no man is supposed to know about, the video, The Female Fear No Man is Supposed to Know About, is waiting for you. The link is in the description. Welcome to the beginning of control.